how do you know which is the right decision? Because they're going to build this and it determines like for the next 10 years where we go. And he goes, well, exactly. We've been trying to figure out for 10 years which one is the right one. But I guarantee you by doing it and figuring it out, we will find out which one is the wrong one. It'll either be right and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Save ourselves time, or we'll be wrong and then we move to the other one and I saved us another 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
So he goes, that's the crux of everybody we start, right? Like we always try to figure out all the things that happen. It's like, just start.
Aaniin, Chelsee Indígena's. I'm an Anishinaabe member of Aamjiwnaang First Nations and the builder of many businesses.
Tsuu, I'm Haley Garcia and I'm from San Felipe Pueblo and Navajo.
Guja Lance Manywounds. I'm a member of the Tsuu T'ina Nation in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I've built a number of businesses and currently building Gaganoozh Ventures, which is data centers and energy infrastructure in North America.
Amazing. Well, Chimagwech, Lance, and Haley for joining me today. I am so excited to work with you guys as business partners and, collaborators. We have known each other for not many months, but it feels like we've known each other for like a really, really long time because of how much our values have aligned and all the projects that we're slowly working on are kind of developing and just connecting so quickly together. So yeah, thank you for saying yes to doing this, and thank you for helping me figure it out, because this is something that we've all been trying to figure out along the way for the last few months, but it's finally time.
Yeah.
It's time to have conversations.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We've had this conversation a few times where it's like, just start.
Yeah.
Just start, and that will lead you to whatever you need to do, but most people don't start soon enough.
Yeah.
Just start, even if you have no idea, just start.
Exactly.
So
yeah, people often get fixated with trying to make things perfect, and I really like the behind the scenes setup of what we were just doing. We were just meeting yesterday and we said, okay, so 1:00 tomorrow, we'll figure it out. Me and Haley found a camera crew, got all the cameras here, all the mics here, everybody that we needed to be here, and then we set up the place.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah.
It works itself out. And I think I told the story like relevant for this stuff because it's just, I don't know, like I find people, especially our people, we struggle. The smarter somebody is, the harder it is for them to start a business or even move forward on things, because you think about all the things that could go wrong. And I think it was Simon Sinek or somebody who talked about this thing that happened where he goes, this general that became a 5-star general clerked for another general when he was young. And this guy was, they had to make a decision that would have basically dictated the 10 years of where the military would have ended up. And this guy spent like weeks researching this. And then the general, he had to go to this meeting, and 15 minutes before the meeting, the general told him to come meet him. And he gives him a briefing on like, hey, here's what this location for this military base is and this location for this military base. And you had to choose one. And for almost 10 years, they decided, like, they were like, oh, we don't know which one. And so they go up the elevator and they're walking in, and the general he clerked for goes and listens to both parties full of like all sorts of very smart people. And after 15 minutes of listening, he goes, pick that one. And he walks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes,
I think
like, what?
Yeah.
And then as they're walking out, the general goes, or the guy who was clerking for him goes, sir, permission to speak freely.
Yeah.
His permission granted. He goes, you didn't even listen to all the things I was saying coming up here, and then you listened to them for 15 minutes, and they've been working on this for 10 years. How do you know which is the right decision? Because they're going to build this, and it determines, like, for the next 10 years where we go. And he goes, well, exactly. We've been trying to figure out for 10 years which one is the right one.
Yeah.
And so he goes, just pick one.
Yep.
And he goes, how do you know it's going to be right, though? He goes, I don't.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, by doing it and figuring it out, we will find out which one is the wrong one. It'll either be right, and it'll be great,
Yeah.
save ourselves time, or we'll be wrong, and then we move to the other one, and I saved us another 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
So he goes, that's the crux of everybody we start, right? Like, we always try to figure out all the things that happen. It's like, just start.
Yeah.
Just start.
My staff, we currently go through that. Haley's like witnessed it a few times
Yeah.
at the store when she was down in Toronto hanging out with us at the space and building out our cohort programming. They constantly are in this like mental, like I'm trying to help them reframe trying to help them reframe the exact path of like what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm just gonna.
I know. A few bugs over here. There's a few bugs over the patio. It's not Canada, guys. So it's not freezing. It's Arizona.
I know.
But there are still bugs.
But yeah, I'm trying to help my staff like reframe, you know, their perception of like what my role is, because they keep looking at me like I have every single answer, and they keep like waiting for me to tell them what to do, and I'm like, no, you guys just choose. And they're like, yeah, but if we just choose, then you tell us that we're wrong, and it's like, okay, then that's a that's a learning lesson. You're not always supposed to be right. You're just supposed to do things.
Just do it.
And yeah, so it kind of like debilitates them in a way that they don't feel like they have like the, you know, the backing and confidence to assert themselves in that way. But at the same time, they don't see the exact story that you're talking about, that, you know, the only role that I have is I go up and I make a decision quickly, because the faster you make the decision, the faster you can fix the problem. And they don't like being wrong because they're younger. They don't have as much life experience of being wrong. So every single time that they are wrong, it feels like, you know, the weight of the world is on their shoulders. And I'm trying to help them kind of like reframe that exact mental perception. So yeah, I'm going through that with my team currently.
Well, it's relevant, right, for our people. And like to be honest, I didn't believe in trauma. Like, honestly, I was like, trauma's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whoops. But
it's our podcast.
It's like I didn't believe it until like I literally generational trauma, all that stuff, until there was a study that I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it was like in the maybe 60s or 70s that was groundbreaking and changed how maybe you guys can hear my crazy humans in the background. But it changed how we looked at trauma. And what was fascinating is they set up this maze, and they had this mouse go through this maze, and this mouse went left. And at the end of the maze, there was a like a shock plate, and there was a cheese. And the mouse would keep trying to go across the shock plate. And the mouse keep getting shocked, then eventually went the other way and got the cheese. And they bred the mouse. And so the son or daughter mouse would go left, but it would stop at the shock plate, and it would not go on the shock plate. And then it thought, and then eventually went back and went and got the cheese. And they bred that mouse. And then instinctually, the third mouse, the grandbaby, instinctually went right every time. And so like things are passed down. And so that's important for us as Indigenous people to like to know these things, and Native Americans, because our trauma does affect us. And so how do you deal with things? Like for me, I struggle with stress a lot, because like everything on top of like people in general, like outside of our culture, we deal with like school, for example. Like you're punished for getting an A, like anything less than an A, right? Like that's ludicrous. Well, hang on. For us in entrepreneurship and business. Well, hang on. How do we get better? Fail.
Oh yeah.
Fail a lot.
Fail fast.
And fail fast. And then iterate and figure out why, right? And that's these backwards incentives, and then you layer on the trauma that we have to deal with. It makes it even harder to do what we need to do. And so it's an interesting thing, but if people can understand like the reason we do our things, then you can start to put in strategies and talk to people like you guys that can move us forward on stuff. First, just like, oh, like I can't do it. No, I promise I'll do it again.
Yes. Yeah. One thing that I'm currently trying to work on with one of my team members, every single time we have a lot on our plate, which is literally every single day, we basically jump into this like stress cycle, where, you know, they are repeating the same cycle because like of, you know, epigenetics and, you know, just like past experiences, past trauma, like while you're living, it conditions you to think a certain way. So your neuroplasticity, it starts following the same routes. And if you are constantly thinking about stress, then if you're constantly looking at problems as problems instead of, you know, opportunities for solutions, then you're constantly you're just constantly falling into the cycle of stress. But if you look at it as, no, this stress doesn't affect me because I have these resources, or because I have this experience, or because I have these people, or because I have these tools, then it rewires the stress into a different way. But you can't do that until you've acknowledged that the stress isn't actually stress. It's just a problem to solve. And then that's how you can work through it. So yeah, I've been talking a lot with my team about, you know, rewiring some of like their, you know, like everybody, I always say, it's always your fault. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, it's always your fault every single time. And people look at that and they get defensive and they're like, no, but like I didn't deserve it, or I didn't do this. And it's like, okay, but like it's still your fault, because at the same time, you could either choose to not care, you could choose to move past it, you could choose to stop doing it.
Yeah.
But when you're constantly in this like cycle of like your neuroplasticity just constantly going the same route without cutting it off and being like, no, I could go this way.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, like it's so hard for me to do that. And it's like, yeah, you have to make yourself aware of it and you have to consistently change that direction.
Yeah.
And then by the time you do, and all of a sudden you're going a whole new way, and then that's your new default.
But like even your story and how you did all your stuff and then come back to Indian country, it's a perfect example. So you should share some of that.
Yeah, that key word was, remember, accountability. Like just the situation prior, I was like just so scared to send this email because again, I had to hold myself accountable for not me completing something I was supposed to complete. And I was literally talking to Chelsea. I was like, I'm gonna read you my email. And I was like, I'm literally saying, I'm sorry, send me an invoice. and I did, and they forgave me. So I'm like, okay, they forgave me. They're not gonna send me an invoice. Yeah. It is what it is. But it was just me, this like, I have to hold myself accountable because I'm again going out as a business owner,
you're a leader.
And now it's just like, okay, I have to own up to my shit now, because prior, again, just always working in nonprofits and all that, and so even just again, I don't know if you can tell, I'm a listener, I'm an observer, and that's literally how I navigate my world. I just sit there, I listen and I learn, but I hear other people's like problems and I hear other people's solutions too. And that's one thing, is like I hear solutions and I hear how things connect the dots. And even again, getting to know your staff too, I'm watching them and I'm seeing like, oh, like things like I can show you how to fold a shirt. Like, let me show you. Or like I walk around, I did acknowledge them. I was like, you guys are a great team. Just keep up the good work. I see you guys doing things X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I think with them too is like they need to learn accountability. Like you said, that they have a job and it's just executing and doing it.
Exactly.
But yeah, just come back to that
they
keyword.
always have they have the tools and resources.
Yeah.
But they're just like scared to mess up.
And you're giving them those tools and resources too. It's not like we're not given those tools and resources, no matter we're working with somebody or again we're finding them ourselves. Again, just accountability.
I don't know. It's a fascinating thing. Like why? I think this is a big piece for Indian country to figure out is like why are we the way we are? And how do I say this nicely? They're trying to be diplomatic, guys.
It's okay. Just go unfiltered.
There's a lot of people who just talk.
Yeah.
They talk about treaty. They talk about da-da-da. They talk about all these things. And like, it's a weird thing because they like, talking doesn't generally produce much action, right? No. Like in our business, do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
Yep.
And talk is cheap. Like, what was my buddy tell me? He goes, bullshit talks, money walks. And not that we're hyper-capitalist, but it's like, this is where a lot of these problems come from, right? Is like, when I was growing up, like the things that I was told is like, oh, well, yes, respect your elders, da-da-da-da, all these things, and all these like belief systems that were created that were completely false. And then when I started actually to go look into things and like why the system is the way it is and why we have the troubles we do, like it started to become remarkably clear because like I was told from somebody I respect unbelievably amount, the oldest elder on our reserve. And this is something that's interesting. Like, yes, respect our elders, always take care of them. Yeah. Things. We should do that. But what happens if they're actually wrong? If they're actually wrong.
Yeah.
And you're told, but what are we taught? No, be quiet. Hush. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Well, how can we fix anything? We don't say anything.
Exactly.
Don't quiet. Yeah. So if you start looking at cause and effect on why things are, like, yes, we should take care of our people, but the problem is those same things work against us. And business people on the outside, because we're on this side, all of us are on this side, that works against us. So like, here's an example, simple stuff with chief and council. When you have these big, ultra smart companies pitching chief and council, they use that against them, and they will ask or talk over their heads so that they don't actually know. The chief and council, most of them generally have no clue what they're talking about, but they don't want to say anything in that session. Why? Because if they say something or ask a stupid question, who's that's going to get back to? Because it's highly political. So you get back to their constituents and saying, oh, well, so-and-so, Lance or Haley or Chelsea didn't know about this. And then all of a sudden you don't get back into council next time. So these weird incentives are created, right? And same thing with like why we're talking about this with this stuff. Why the Indian country is a problem we do with the corruption and all the things. because the people who built the casinos didn't build the golden parachute
Yeah.
for themselves. And a lot of them were doing it because they were righteous.
Yeah.
And not wrong. Like, I'm grateful they did it because a lot of us got provided education or opportunities that would never have existed, right?
Yeah.
But had they done the right thing and actually took care of themselves, you wouldn't have these people who are older, like even on all of our tribes,
Yeah.
that still stay in positions way past where they should.
Yeah.
And they want to maintain the status quo because, like on my tribe, I won't say who, but there's stuff getting moved around right now. This person makes $30,000 a month tax-free.
Wow.
And they're an elder. They have no business being in the position they do. Zero.
Yeah.
Do you know what they make when they are not that? I know they didn't save for retirement either. They spend every single cent of it.
Yeah.
They make $500 a month.
Wow.
So you go from 30,000 to 500.
500.
Do you think you're incentivized to go change or do something different or bring somebody up?
Yeah.
No.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
And so this is why if you just look in general across what's happening in Indian country, the same thing is there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's everywhere.
With nonprofits and businesses.
Yeah.
The exact
Yeah, we were
same
talking
thing.
about that too the other day. Just like all of that.
But nonprofits, right? Like and you know
Yeah.
this, like nonprofits. Like we started one up in Canada, and we're working on it, and it's in the early stages. But we're going to run it like a business because nonprofits become bloated, and they end up doing a ton of things that are like, hey, we get all this money. They're going to donate it, so we can just spend it because it's free. It's like, well, us as business owners, we get a dollar in.
Yeah.
I better know where that goes. And I better know it better be productive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like we don't just get to be here, donate a bunch of money and we run out, guys. Give us more money, please.
Yeah.
It's like no, it doesn't work that way.
Well, remember that one time, like we were visiting, an initiative in Chicago, and they were like explaining this really amazing project that they spent so many months working on, and they basically ran out of cash, like to keep the project going. And it's like I was like, well, did you think about selling the one item that they put all this money and effort into? And they're like, no, like we don't want our community to purchase it. And it's like, but if you did, then you would have been able to build more incentives. So why did you stop doing that? Like why? And they were like, oh, well, we ran out of grant funding.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but if you just charged like $30 for the book, or if you just started like selling like whatever the product was.
Yeah, well,
then,
it was the book. Yeah.
You wouldn't like need to be in that position because you would have been able to, supplement the income based off of the grant, and then you would be able to continue to grow the project in a larger scale and hopefully build out more and more solutions and initiatives for that specific.
Yeah, it was a language program. So they ran out of funding, just grant funding recently with this political environment. So they stopped like doing language classes, and they have like this really amazing book, but we're trying to revitalize their language. And so they were having these classes in Chicago. And so again, they just totally stopped it because funding's not there. And they're like, that's why Chelsee was saying like, oh, are you selling this? Like, I can put it in my store.
Like, I want to start selling it wholesale for like different universities and like stuff like that.
But again, right, like that. But that's goes into the problems that we have. Is like we become so dependent on government financing, grants. Oh, we can't do this. It's like, well, hang on, and like the next generation is coming, and they get this. Like they're like, what do you mean we can't do it? Why don't we go do it ourselves? Or go build something ourselves. Or go make money, or go raise money, or go do like figure it out. Where the older generation was like, oh well, we need grants. We need you to give us this stuff. Like there was somebody that's helping up in Canada, and they needed help on building basically a real estate development and a nonprofit. They were just like, oh, it's infinite funding. You can just build whatever. It's like, well, hang on. If I'm a real estate developer, it better pencil. Yeah. And it better make sense. But that's how so many of our people function. Is it was just like, oh well, no, just give us some more money.
Yeah. And I feel like it's us as the Indigenous community just having that thought process with nonprofit and funding and grants, because again, my background, I've always worked in Chicago, not necessarily with Indian country either. And I did work for a nonprofit, but the way it switched my mind, like my former boss, he wrote a book called No More Nonprofits, but it's KNOW, No More Nonprofits. And like he totally like flipped the switch for me, because it's a nonprofit, but he has these different programs, and the programs was one that I ran, which is a co-working space, but it was still people paid membership to be a part of it. So we were generating our own revenue. Exactly. And the one thing that he taught me too, he's like, we're a nonprofit and people do donate to us. But people are wanting to donate to us because they see it. We're not just asking for a handout all the time.
Exactly.
This is a membership. Like people pay to be in these conference rooms. We bought a building, a $1 million building. This nonprofit owns it. We have a coffee shop on the bottom. We have programming. We have the co-working on the top that I managed. And I did all these like entrepreneurship programs. Like I had workshops. I managed memberships and all our conference room and held like conferences in there too. And again, it was all subscription based too. So I was generating revenue as a nonprofit program. And it went back into the community because we started doing like accelerator programs and just doing all of this. Again, it was a Black owned nonprofit. And that's where you switched my mind. I was like, okay, nonprofits, like, it is more in, I guess, enticing for an investor to give money or to donate when you're not always asking for that handout because they can see you can be sustainable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's like being an investor and looking at this, like that's everything is metric based.
Yeah.
Like if I give you $1, you need to show me what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what is, I'm starting to see that shift already in any country.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. It's like, well, what, like, and there's at a macro scale, like this is what's happening with the chief of councils, right? Like people are asking the younger people and people in between, like, what are you doing with our money? We're raising this much. Where's it all going? And to the point where it's like, and Ray Dalio, who's the founder of Bridgewater, which is the largest hedge fund in the world, he said something interesting because he was talking about like, even as much money as he has, he actually needs more to be able to affect the things he wants to do. Yes. And it's actually remarkably hard to give away your money, especially if you've achieved at a high level, because what that means is exactly what you said. Like, we need, I want to know where my dollar goes.
Yeah.
Like, if you show me this, show me the impact you're going to do. And we don't need it to be sustainable, but I at least want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to what we've always got is like in, not going to any people specifically, but I give you $1 and you just spend it on nothing. Like crazy things. You buy yourself a house in the Caribbean or something. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
I just funded you to buy a house in the Caribbean? It's like, dude, crazy. So,
exactly. I with the store, people are constantly like, well, Chelsee, just make $1 million. And it's like, to make $1 million, you need $1.5 million of stock available. And people don't really realize that I don't have the initial funds to immediately make that. And whenever I'm in these like positions, like, I've been able to bootstrap the business really quickly, but that's through reinvestment. So I haven't spent any money on like houses in the Caribbean or, I bought like a $9,000 cash Kia for like, that has 30,000 kilometers on it. I bought it in January after the pop-up last year. I needed a vehicle again to like drop off deliveries and things like that. And so it's like, it's so funny because people have this big misconception. I think Indigenous people take things like too literally, where nonprofit, it means you can't make money. Like nonprofits doesn't mean that you can't make money. It's like, that's not what we're talking about. Same thing with like donating your money, like donating your profits. When people are like, oh, the proceeds go to XYZ, the proceeds means whatever money that you got after you paid back the costs of what was incurred in doing this initiative. Yeah. But Indigenous people look at it like, oh, I sold a $45 t-shirt, I'm going to donate $45 to the Orange Shirt Society, or I'm going to donate $45 to this nonprofit. So
that it's interesting. That begets a very touchy subject in our culture. So my grandmother was the one who told me, you can't make a lot of money without stepping on people and being greedy. And I actually made a reasonable amount. I didn't go back and tell her. I was like, Grandma, can we talk? She's 96, 96. Sorry, Grandma. I think you're 95. I tell her, I'm like, you're wrong. Yeah. Like, you're wrong. And that's a misconception in our people. Like, it's perfectly fine to make a lot of money. And what you don't realize is actually the best people I know all make the most money. Like, they help the most amount of people, they employ the most amount of people, they donate the most amount of people, and you don't see the fight that they have to go through to do the things that they do and add value, because your value in the world or in the marketplace, in the world, but in the marketplace in capitalism is relative to the value you add to the market. That's it, 1-to-1. Like, people are like, why do billionaires exist? Well, Google and Larry Page and Sergey Brin are there because guess what? They organize the internet for you. They're like, why is Elon Musk so rich? Because he has 7 companies that literally he's trying to get us off the planet in case a meteor hits us.
And he's almost gone bankrupt several times in the process.
That's the craziness, right? And so like it's a taboo thing in our culture for people to like talk about money. It's perfectly fine to make a lot of money, just so you guys know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with it. And I call us like cultural capitalists because we're very still tied to our people, but there's nothing wrong with doing well and making a lot. When you get there, then you can decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I tell people, because people are like, oh, well, I don't want to get there. Go get there first.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like my first business. The
Get
gym
there first.
Well, no, it
I
was
like
the
that.
gym I had. I used to have people that were like, come in and they were like, it was the funniest thing. They would and CrossFit was my first business. And they would come in, and these girls, ladies especially,
Yeah.
they come in and they'd be like, well, I watched the CrossFit games and I don't want to be bulky like those girls and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like,
We're like, yeah,
can I
we
be
work
honest
out
for a
lot.
second? I'm like, that's like great training for like 5 to 10 years and great nutrition and great sleep and all these other like great health hygiene habits.
Yeah.
How about we get you there first?
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, I'll run the shit out of you and you can be a skinny bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's get there first and do that.
That's so
But that's
funny.
what people don't realize is like, get there first. And because we have so many people that say, oh, I don't want to make a lot of money. Because people are like this. Go make it first.
Yeah.
Then come back and talk to me.
It's like,
Yeah,
It's
like
funny.
do make it first.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've made $3 million in the last 3.5 years specifically, and it's just so funny because $3 million is a lot of money, but for me it's not a lot of money because I expected to make that much money. That was my goal that I set out to do. So for me, I'm just like, okay, this is what I needed to do. But I've seen so many people make like $100,000 and go like, you know, buy a Gucci purse, or I make $100,000 and go buy a brand new car. And like, it's like, that is the mentality that keeps people in the cycles that they're in, is just seeing the first paycheck and immediately wanting to cash it in.
But you know what's interesting, and I think this is why this podcast is existing and why we're all working on what we're doing, because normalizing actual success, like we have a lot of unbelievably talented people, we talked about yesterday, right? In Indian country, in like actors, actresses, musicians, athletes, and they're all like, they're unbelievable. Like I'm enamored. We were talking about Michaela behind the scenes, which Michaela behind you guys.
Yes.
I'm enamored by anybody. We're talking about this. Like anybody who has they're talented.
Yeah.
And what we don't have or haven't had, and they're not very visible, are like high level entrepreneurs. And they exist now. We're going to find all of you, by the way.
Yes,
So you can
we're
find
coming
them.
for
We're
you.
coming for you.
We're coming for you, all of the high-level entrepreneurs.
Because
We
it's
need you.
important for our kids and our youth and others to see, because guess what? Like when Chelsee said she made $3 million, I lost 22
Yes, exactly.
in 2021. So, which is a different story, maybe for a different podcast. But like these conversations should be normalized. Like, oh, well, and there's nothing wrong with 100. 100 is a lot. Don't get me wrong. 10, like 1,000 is a lot.
That's like the first milestone.
But it's what you want to do with it, and what your goal is. Like mine's the Singapore Indian country. With anybody, like what Lee Kuan Yew did for Singapore. If you want to read a book, go read it. And it's relative to your goals, right? Like money's a tool. It serves no other purpose than that.
Yeah.
But for us, it's always been like, oh well, hang on, guys. When we had you settle, we're going to just sit you down. Here's your reserve. Here's some flour, and good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're always given things.
Yeah.
And then we're new to capitalism.
Yeah.
But
and now we're getting money from, you know, like a bunch of different things that are being I don't know what to call it, but like not reconciled. I guess that is kind of like what's happening, is like it was always ours, so it was meant to be ours in the first place, but it's like coming back to us now. It's not being reclaimed because like it's being given back to us.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what it's called, but you know, a lot of
like the
are
truth and
coming into
reconciliation
money,
stuff.
like, and when a lot of the people who aren't used to accessing money are receiving this money, you know, it's just like the flour. It's creating diabetes. It's creating a lot of harm and dietary issues in the community. That's what the money is happening now. And just like the flour is a tool, the money is the exact same type of tool. Like you just can't eat it. But
Well, like on your guys' tribe, how does it work on your guys' tribe? Like distribution, stuff like that? Do you have a lot of dependency and things like that?
Not really, because we're not like a tribe that's making its means. So like they do disbursements during the holidays, but it's only to the head of household. And my dad's the head of household, and again, you have to have head of a house, and you do have to like pay all your bills because they do pay utility. I can't say it. Utilities, yeah, and yeah, so they pay that, and if you're not paying the tribe the bill, your monthly bill, then it gets taken out of that holiday, that's I don't know, stipend or something. But we do also get it during one of our cultural feast days, which is a big one where it's open to the community. It's May 1st. And so they do offer these like, again, just like these little checks that help the family out with like food, mostly with food. Again, we're Pueblo people. We feast. And for me, when I see it, it's like, it's always just that cycle of we cook, we clean, we put our money all in food, and it's just food. That's all it is. And I'm like, that's why I guess I'm not there. It's like, because I want to do other things besides just always serve and cook and clean and do all sorts of things. No, I love my family. I love them very much.
But you love to do that, but like you shouldn't have to do that
all the time. Because it's a calendar. Like I said, it's the same thing over and over and over again. But no, like we don't get a ton of things. But I was a part of that side too, like working with our economic economic development arm, sat on our board, and I saw in that perspective. Like I got to see the inner workings of our casino, and even again just having that conversation with people coming to us to pitch to the tribe of what we could invest in. We've had like a soda company come to us. We've had, of course, cannabis before it was legalized came to us way in the forefront. So we did a lot of due diligence on all these different industries, and there was opportunity. Like we literally had opportunity. We could have been there at the very beginning, but now we're always the last ones. Like literally, we had an opportunity for the cannabis thing, and again now we could have had it,
and that's that golden parachute.
Well, but this again, just go back to the interesting question, right? So I went back to, I'll talk build my company, but go back to help my reserve, and I joke with our chief, I work for $1. I'm like, I want 100% raise. I really told that. I'm like, I want 100% raise, or I'm not working.
$2.
I get $2. But it's one of the reasons I went back is because one of our problems is like in this. It's not the right way to say, I don't know how to say this right. More money is not necessarily a problem. Because you can look all across the Indian country. There's a lot of tribes that have a lot of money. And I won't say which ones, but there's some I deal with that they have like a 3% employment rate, not unemployment rate. They have a 3% employment rate. And everybody else just collects checks every month because they don't have to do anything. And it's like, well,
non-profit model.
Well, there you go. But more importantly, like what that guarantees that we're not going to be like that tribe is gone. Like if you don't have people that want to go hunt, like it's over. You got to have people that want to go do stuff. And that's where I honestly don't know what the solution is. That's why we're having the conversation. Get more people into this mix to discuss that, because how do you create a system or incentives that encourage people to go build things? Because like what I would love to see down the road is like 10 years from now, we have people like building space companies and stuff setting rockets up and artificial intelligence and solving problems for ourselves and taking care of the earth with unique things, technology, right? Amazing parts of like tech and stuff. And we have some people in like with ACES and some people in STEM and different things, but not at the level which most people would be there. And that I think would be like, that would be great to see. I think that's what these conversations will start to do.
And going back to that, just like the ones, the wealthy natives, and then you have ones like, again, my little Pueblo tribe. And I've had those conversations with both. Like, again, I've done some work with the Eastern tribes, East Coast tribes, and a lot of them are wealthy. And then again, I'm a Southwest girly, and I'll talk to my leaderships and all that. And that's why I always think that Pueblo people, like, we're very strong in our ties to our culture still. Like, again, one of our language is strong still. We still do a lot of traditional ceremonies, and compared to others. And I always thought about it if it was because of that money. If it was because, and I've had conversations with those who have money, and it's still like a laughing matter. Like, oh, like they have these like big old mansions, but there's still like a resi broken down car in front of their
they're like housebroken.
And then they're like, once they got their checks and just kind of wild out. And
there's like, you've probably heard of this, and I've talked to you about this before, but like there's 3 things, and it's time, energy, or money. and for a lot of the times you can, use to buy the other as the tool. So I think that the rich tribes, they're getting the money, but then, the energy is getting depleted, and they need to use the time and the money to rebuild back the energy that is put back into the space. And then, you won't have as much money, but then you have more time and you have energy. And that is the purpose of money. It's to buy back
it's a tool.
Time and money, or time and energy.
That's what's crazy. We had our own bartering system, back thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's the people that brought their stuff that made oh, weird. Like this house.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're da 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 da. It's it's not worth anything. Literally nothing. It's not worth the paper it's written on, because we had our own ways and our own ways to trade stuff and value and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, because it almost there's multiple things that if we don't fix in any country, almost guarantee we're going to be gone.
Yes.
Blood quantum's one.
Oh yeah.
If we don't fix the alignment with why we make money and with our youth, the goal is build the casinos and do all this stuff so we have more. We can distribute more. Well, we've already seen that doesn't work.
Yes.
Try.
So why are we trying to distribute more and nothing?
Exactly. But if we don't talk about this and call this stuff out and be like, guys, there's actually a problem here.
Yeah.
This is a problem. There's a tribe somewhere in this area. I won't say who. They'll be gone. So South Koreans will be, if they don't fix their birth rate, they're going to be gone in less than 75 years, before 2100. Wow. There's a tribe here locally of one of the 23 tribes, 22, I think. They'll be gone before then. And they are one of the wealthiest. Gone.
Yeah.
Because of their blood quantum and the way that everything's set up. And blood quantum was another weird thing that was created, right? Because it's this is why from East Coast to West Coast, we look a lot different from Native Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because time to contact and the way they blood quantum is and everything else is a lot different. So, there's a lot of, you bring up lots of good things.
I think people need to rewatch or finally watch Killers of the Flower Moon, because
I've never seen it.
Oh really? It's basically that's the exact purpose and plot.
Yeah.
I'm I heard about it. I'm
oh no, totally, it's fucked.
Yeah.
But it's a very real depiction.
No, I had some people in Chicago who were, again, just a lot heavy funders, and they're these white couple, and they watched it, and they're like, Haley, because they knew I was Native. They're like, Haley, have you watched it? Have you read it? They're like, I'm so sorry, and I'm like, oh, that's not my specific tribe, but okay. And they're like, whatever you need, Haley, whatever. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, well, whenever I want to open up my co-working space, I will give you a call. They're like, whatever what my people did. They're like we're here for you. I'm like, okay. So they literally went. They did do a road trip and went to that area. Yeah. They went to the museum and everything. But
this is what I tell our people, and especially the youth, and as we can keep moving on this, people don't realize the confluence of factors in our favor is unbelievable. We have the most amount of people actually getting born. So the fastest growing ethnic group in North America. We have the fastest growing economy in North America. And weird, we also have the narrative in our favor.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to be like, poor Indian.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, listen, in business, use whatever capacity.
Yeah. I've said that. I was like, I said, I'll pull my Native card anytime, for these certain opportunities.
And granted, I'll caveat that we compete on merit.
Yeah.
So we're there. Yeah. And if we're there on merit, then the tie-breaking factor would be like, hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey up.
I'm a bro.
Yeah.
Help me out. I'm a bro. I'm a bro. So I don't know.
That's the thing. It's right now there's so much opportunity, and actually there's a retailer that is in North America, more northern in Canada, that has tons of retail spaces all across Canada. And they keep reaching out to these Indigenous businesses that are not ready, and they don't have capacity, and they just keep seeing this opportunity, and they're not on that merit. Yeah. So they keep overextending these offers, and it gets these Indigenous business owners excited that they're going to be an overnight success, or that they're going to have unlimited money coming in every single week and stuff like that. And it's no, now you have a new thing that you have to actually hold yourself accountable to.
Yeah.
If there's problems, you have to fix them. And now it's a new layer of problems. It's not they're just getting handed this and they're just getting handed money with it. It's getting handed an opportunity, but they're not ready for that opportunity. Yeah. So they're falling on their face. And I've actually seen several businesses actually go out of business because this non-Indigenous retailer keeps offering these opportunities to them. So it's I'm trying to basically step in as the middleman this year, with the cohort that we're doing. Yeah. And it's I want companies to come to us. I want Simons to come to us. I want you know, Walmart to come to me, and I want them to be like, hey, who's ready? And I'll be like, this person, this person, this person. I don't need to own every single Indigenous business in North America. I just want to make sure like the quality's there, because like when you are skipping these steps and you're just gonna face plant, and like, you know, like you've said it 1,000 times, like, you know, we'd all like to keep each other's front teeth, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get your teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like what you said is you can compress time frames, and the fastest way to do that is find people who actually know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Like you and others, and
yeah.
if you want to do that, like it's not magical. Like how did you do it? But also don't. This is like theory versus practitioner. I'm huge on this because I'm like one of the things that drives me the craziest thing about like podcast. I'm on a podcast, and we're gonna have sound bites going everywhere. But about this stuff is because so much about what people put out there.
Yeah.
Like I can listen to it for a little bit. Like for a couple minutes, I can tell you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you've never done anything, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just talk about stuff, because theory versus practitioner, how it actually works in the real world, if you're actually doing it, you know down to the gnarliest details about what actually is going on.
Yeah.
And you know crazy things. Like, I mean, here's an example. With like all the stuff I have. I mean, having 1,200 employees now, seeing how politics and corporate, like, having my company to be technically corporate America with all the amount of stuff that we have, I had no idea that like, oh weird, like the political piece with people CYAing themselves was going to be a big piece when, because my company's peaked before, I had 350 employees, and I was like, well, this is crazy. Like this is a whole different thing that I never thought I'd have to deal with. Yeah. And then when you scale, people, building teams of people, getting them to work together is so much more difficult than people understand. That's why I have so much respect for anybody building monster companies. Yeah. And like all of these little things are so key. That's why it's so important to listen to people that actually know what they're doing. Like, it's like weird. They'll help you. They'll compress your time frames. You want to be really successful?
Yes.
Go listen to people.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Not magical.
No, it's not magical. All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us on our very first episode. We didn't really have this planned, so you know, we don't really know what we're calling it and stuff. I have ideas, but we haven't talked about it. So we'll see you on the next episode. Miigwech.